Usually I'd try to find some smooth and charismatic way of introducing one of these videos. I just can't. The recent bombings in Brussels have really sort of hit me quite hard, because I used to live in that city, and back when I was a little kid, I used to think it was one of the greatest places on earth. It's such a great city to live in, and the people there are, while busy and bustling and stuff like that, and usually a bit stressed out, are some of the greatest people on earth. I think Belgium is a great country, and while I'm not, in terms of my blood and heritage, Belgian, if I did end up living in another country aside from the UK, I would easily say Belgium would be a close second, because it's an amazing country. It really is. And so it makes my heart break when I hear about this sort of thing happen to a place where I used to live. And not only that, but a day before the bombs happened, my dad actually left Brussels after finishing an arts show there. He'd been in an arts show for a few days, and he got out, I think, a few hours before the bombs happened. Of course, he didn't know that would happen. No one had any idea. There's been threats and alerts for the last couple of months, and I'm just, internally glad and sort of happy that my dad's managed to, get back to the UK all right. But at the same time, I'm still, kind of heartbroken that this kind of thing has happened to a country that I think is great and that I love, and a city that I think is one of the greatest cities on the planet. The fact that, 31 people have been killed by this, and over 200 have been injured. This is, this is terrible. This is the most deadliest terrorist attack to happen to a Western country since the bombings and shootings in France last year. And this is just to cap off like a week there where such terrible things have happened, such as riots in Brazil, and another bombing and shooting in Turkey's capital, in Ankara. It's just been a terrible week. I know we hear about these sort of things happening all the time in the news, but it's like, I think the only real thing we can do is just try and ensure that these things don't happen as often as they do. And the thing is, I don't know if we ever will sort of completely eradicate terrorism, because once one sort of group disappears, there'll always be another one to come up. And I know that sounds like a very grim and dark way to say it, but I do think that sort of thing will happen again, and I hope it doesn't, but it probably will. I mean, this isn't about one in particular sort of race or ideology. This could have come from any source, any race, any ideology. And the thing is, one thing that's been making me think about that sort of whole thing since this happened is the fact that I don't think this, to sort of like, whenever anything like this, whenever any shooting or bombing like this happens, people shouldn't be talking about race, I don't think. People shouldn't be talking about ideology. We shouldn't be talking about whether they're white or black. Muslim or Christian. The thing is, it's always going to be a different background. It's always going to be a different religion. The one only solidarity thing that ties all these sort of things together is the fact that these people are just fucking mental. They're evil scum of the earth, and they literally have no point to their lives other than harming the innocent and bringing death, devastation, chaos to the innocent. It doesn't matter what their background is at all. The fact that people are talking about this just pisses me off. The fact that people are talking about the fact that they're Muslim or black pisses me off. The fact that people are raising up the point that this means we should talk more about when it's a white or Christian terrorist pisses me off. That shouldn't come into it. The fact that should come into it is the fact that these people are going to do this for whatever ideological reason, and they're always going to be evil, crazy scumbags, regardless of their background, regardless of their religion, regardless of their ideology. And the thing is irregardless of what if their background, religion or ideology is, they're always going to be doing these things, and so we need to take steps to avoid that. We need to, ensure that the trafficking of arms is better regulated, that public security is better regulated and better funded and things like that. I know this isn't the sort of thing people want to hear, but what else can we do? It's like all we can do is just keep a better eye out for these sorts of things, regulate borders better, regulate the transfer of weapons better, ensure that any organisation, whether it be white Christians, Middle East Muslims, anyone at all, doesn't matter what their skin colour is, doesn't matter what their race or ideology or religion is, what needs to be done is just to ensure that they don't do this thing again. I don't understand why people just continue pointing towards a person's race or religion. It's just the fact that they're all crazy and mental, and regardless of whatever sort of ideology or background someone has, if they're crazy, they're going to find any justification for doing these sorts of things. And I don't know. I suppose the only other really thing I have to say to this is the fact that some people on the internet have been pointing out that because this has happened to a Western modernised country, the modern media have been concentrating more on this than things like the recent bombings in Ankara, which I would dispute, because I saw a great deal of reporting on Ankara. I saw dozens of people online, at least on my Facebook and Twitter, pouring out their heart and souls to the people of Ankara and Turkey who were affected by this, and it really raised my heart and it really raised my spirits to see people uniting from around the world to send all their love and support out to the people of Turkey who have been affected by that tragedy. And I think we should do the same for Belgium and Turkey and any other country that is affected by these sorts of things. It doesn't matter what country it is, it's just as bad. So I don't want to see anyone posting up any posts online, trying to gain the moral ground about how, the Western media doesn't focus enough on tragedies in non-Western countries. You can make an argument for that. Sometimes it might even be true, but it doesn't justify saying that a tragedy in a Western country isn't worth as much, or that we shouldn't focus on it as much. As far as I'm concerned, the Western media now today more than ever is trying its best to focus on an equal level on both tragedies in places like Brussels, to an equal degree to tragedies in places like Ankara. And as long as we encourage the Western media to do that, the more I think they'll do it. I just wish that they didn't have to. I just wish these things didn't happen. So, they could concentrate on stories of, kindness and charity and happiness and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. Maybe it's just another gaming YouTuber who's just taken politics a bit too much to the head. I mean, I am studying history and politics at university, so I guess you'd expect me to talk about this sort of thing now and again, but I guess all I can say is there is at least a couple of good things about this. One is that, you know, the Belgian authorities seem to have identified most, if not all, of the assailants who committed this terrible act, which is fair play to them. I can't imagine how hard they've been working over the last 2 or 3 days. Second is, of course, the amount of outpouring of love and support that's been going out to Belgium. Now, my dad, when he got back last night, you know, I saw him sort of like really pouring out his heart to the people of Belgium, and I think we should all do that. And I think it's, you know, whenever this kind of tragedy happens, we should pour our heart out to the people who have suffered. We did it for the people of Turkey last week, we should do it for the people of Belgium this week. And thirdly is that there's been reports of the fact that there was a third bomb. Because, I mean, we all know that this was inflicted by 2 nail-filled homemade bombs that detonated in Brussels airports, but reports are coming out over the last few hours that there was actually a third one. So, this isn't much of a comfort to those who've been affected by this, but my God, it could have been so much worse. But in any case, even if it was just one person, or 10, or 31, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be just as bad as the last or the next massacre. And we should try and look past the fact that these terrorists might have a particular race or background or religion. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they're crazy, they're out there, and they're always going to be of a different colour, creed or background. The one unifying thing is that they're always going to be crazy, and they're always going to be doing bad things to innocent people. And as long as we all stand together against this kind of thing and send out our love and support to whoever might be affected by this sort of thing, we might not be able to, you know, ever stop this kind of thing from happening, but we can at least limit it and alleviate the pain. I hope I've gotten through to some of you, and I hope this doesn't ever happen to Belgium or any country again, but knowing this day and age and the way things are going in the world of politics and ideologies at the moment, who knows? It could happen next week, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next month. I never know. No one does. All we can do is prepare the best for the next time this happens. So I implore you all to send out your love and friendship and support and condolences to the people of Belgium and Brussels in particular. And just hope and pray that this sort of thing never ever happens again. Although, I don't know. I just had to make this video just because this really broke my heart a bit, hearing about this sort of thing, and the fact that I used to live in this great country really breaks my heart to see this kind of thing happen to it. And I don't know. It seems like the Belgian authorities have this in their stride at the moment, so I hope they keep up the good work, because they've been doing an amazing job so far in investigating this tragedy. We should give them all the encouragement they can get, and all the love and support we can give to the French and the Belgian people. I don't know. It's a dark world, my friends. It's a very dark world, and we all have to stand together.